going on, guys? Had an amazing night. All of my MLB members absolutely crushed it. Smashed DraftKings with the 151.85. Placed in top 1% of contest. As you can see, I changed my picks on Twitter later in the day at around 6 o'clock. I tweeted out my new core after I did more research throughout the day, and I had Greinke, Snell still in there. And then I went with Rowdy Tellez with a 9th inning home run, Cano, Bregman, and Brantley. And then as you see, my finish lineup finished it out with Cano, Drury, Nemo, and Springer. And that combined to finish with a 151.85. Absolutely crushed everything. So 2-day winning streak now for baseball. Looking to crush it again tonight. If you want to get in on this $50 deal, it is a super cheap bargain that nobody else is going to offer. I know I should not be offering it at that cheap price for like 10 months of baseball, especially after yesterday and the day before, especially yesterday where we crushed it. But if you want to get in, you can hit the link in the description. Before we get started with the picks, please be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe if you have not already. And let's get right into it. Pitcher that I like for the main slate first is Jameson Taillon at 7,900. Seems like a really, really good play just because there's not a ton of good pitching options on the main slate. And we have to roster 2 of them. And especially with the good bats that we have, I'm kind of not going to pay up all the way at pitching. Going to go mid-tier so I can spend out for bats. So I think Taillon's a really good play. He had an amazing first start, except for the 7th inning. He was great through the first 6 innings, and then he unraveled through the 7th. This lineup here is pretty good for St. Louis, but high price. Next up, we're going to go with Jon Lester against the Braves. So Lester is another guy that he's a pretty good pitcher. He's not great, but his ERA is low. He has decent strikeout stuff. He's facing the Braves that, their best hitter is a lefty with Freddie Freeman. Also, Nick Markakis is a lefty. They don't have a ton of great righties except for Acuna in terms of power. So I think Lester is going to be able to survive this game. And like I said, I'm going to be spending mid-tier at pitching. Besides those 2 mid-tier options, there's nobody that really sticks out to me. So those are the pitching options that I like. On to the bats. I love the Dodgers today. I like the Houston Astros are going to be my main ones. And then I also like the Red Sox as well, even though I'm kind of waiting until the Red Sox really get it going. But a matchup against Estrada, who gives up a ton of home runs, could be good, although there could be a chance that he just gives up a ton of long warning track flyouts in Oakland. So the ballpark is obviously not good for hitting. But I'm going to go with Kiki Hernandez first up at second base, 4,200. He's been leading off against lefties, and I expect him to continue leading off here against Derek Holland. The Dodgers have faced a bunch of lefties early so far this season. And Hernandez has great numbers against lefties for his career. And hitting leadoff, he should see those extra at-bats later in the game. And he's been hitting the ball pretty well to start the season. So I like Hernandez at second base. Going to go back to Alex Bregman again at third base or shortstop, whatever you want to play him at. But Bregman finally his bat started to cook yesterday in Texas, went 2 for 3. The Astros also stole a bunch of bases yesterday too. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that today against a lefty, but I still think that later in the game, if there's a reliever and the game is close, the Astros are willing to run. Bregman did have a stolen base yesterday too. Minor gives up a lot of power to righties, and Bregman was, like I said, a couple days ago when I recommended Bregman, he has one of the best numbers against lefties last season, hit 326 against them. And the ballpark is great for hitting. It's going to be pretty warm there, so you got to love Bregman at 5,400. I'm going to go with A.J. Pollock in the outfield at 4,600. So he has really good numbers against lefties too. Him and Hernandez and David Freese and Justin Turner, the 4 guys on the Dodgers. I like Pollock at 4,600. He's not extremely high priced. He's not extremely cheap. He's like right in the middle of the bunch. He's in the middle of the pack with a bunch of good options. He's been really hitting the ball really well so far this season for the Dodgers, hitting right in the middle of the lineup in a great matchup here against Derek Holland in a good hitter's park. I love A.J. Pollock. And then finally, I'm going to go with George Springer again, leading off against the lefty. Springer and Bregman are the 2 main power threats from the right side of the plate against lefties for the Astros. Altuve hasn't been swinging the bat well at all, so I'm probably not going to play him if I had to fade one of the Astros. I would much rather play Bregman and Springer because they do have more pop, and they've been hitting the ball pretty well this year so far, the first 4 or 5 games. But I like Springer leading off 4,900 against the Rangers, against Minor. And this park here is really good for right-handed power. So I love Springer at 4,900, and those are the 6 players that I like. So thanks for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. If you want to come join the team, you can hit the link in the description. The $50 deal is not going to last long. I went back to it just because people kept asking me for it, but it's going to be off soon. So jump on it if you want it. And that's all I got, and good luck.